Shenanigans.
Um, all right, so next up is myself. I wanted to discuss these anti vaxxers in a Texas hospital quitting or getting fired because of their refusal to get vaccines. So last week, there were a ton of people at the Houston Methodist Hospital that were fired or resigned for choosing to ignore their policy requiring them to be vaccinated against COVID 19. So the hospital gave employees until June 7th to get vaccinated or be suspended for 2 weeks. 200 employees got suspended, and out of that, 153 of them were terminated on Tuesday or had to resign. Now, I was surprised by this number, but nearly half of all frontline workers were still unvaccinated as of March. And I'm sure that number's gone up since then, since it's June now. But a lot of them are still refusing to be vaccinated. And I thought this was standard operating procedure for most hospitals, to be honest. I do want to point out the issue of vaccine mandates for employers made it to the Supreme Court, and they ruled that employers can require the vaccine as a term of employment, quote, subject to the obligation to provide reasonable accommodations to employees with legitimate medical or religious reasons for not being vaccinated. So there is an out, but is this right, guys? Is this right? Should healthcare employers require vaccines? And what about other just regular employers? Should they also be required? I'm going to start with Jose.
I'm all for freedom of choice. I'm okay with that. However, when you're in a career that you are in healthcare, it's not like we just turn around and say, we've got the vaccine within 24 hours. And what people have to understand is that the coronavirus has been around for a very, very long time, right? And people have been studying it. Shit, they just came out with an article saying it was around 20,000 years ago. So, it's been around. We've been studying it. It's not like we have 5 researchers in the whole world from like 19 fish and chips where we're like 100 years to come out with a vaccine. We have so many people, such amazing technology.
Yep.
And what are the deaths associated with the vaccines compared to the disease, the virus itself,
Yeah, I tried to
right?
look it up. I don't think
So,
there's any for Moderna or Pfizer, any deaths from Moderna or Pfizer. I think there were some issues with the Johnson and Johnson, but I don't think there are any deaths for
I mean,
Pfizer or
any
Moderna.
drug that we take, there's going to be a side
Double
effect.
check
I
that.
don't know what the side effects are going to be in 20 years from now from getting this vaccine. But what I know for now is that I want to be safe and I want to be safe for the people that I'm around. So for these people that decided to move on, I hope it's a totally different career that you're going to, a totally new path, because I do believe that if you're in healthcare, you should be encouraging people to get your vaccines to get better, because you're not protected. Even with a vaccine, you can still get coronavirus. However, if you get it, your chances of fighting it are better. So if that worker comes in and gets it, what? Who's liable then?
Yep.
Right? And if they pass it on to someone that's susceptible, that has a weak immune system, I mean, it's a give and take, right? So if you don't want to take it, fine. Go work somewhere else. Find something else.
So I was incorrect. So I want to correct myself. So the 900, this is as of March 6th, so it's a while ago. Old
Mhm.
numbers, but 966 people had died after receiving the Pfizer or Moderna COVID vaccines. Report also said that it's 472 from Moderna, 489 from Pfizer, but many of those died because of other issues unrelated to the actual vaccine itself. It was maybe they had some other issue. They were sick from something else or some other underlying issue, but the majority were not because of the vaccine itself. But But again, they said they're still reviewing that. But that's 966. And then if we look at how many people died from COVID
Globally?
19, so because you mentioned comparing the two, we're talking what, millions, hundreds of millions at this point, right? Almost a billion, or is it like half a billion? What are we looking at?
It's not going to agree with everyone. Just like the flu shot, it doesn't agree with me, but it might agree with Robbie Rock. It's one of those things that it's going to happen, unfortunately. And for the pandemic right now, if we can protect ourselves, this is our best course of defense because nothing else has kept the virus away,
Yeah.
you know?
And
So,
it's one of the most
it,
effective vaccines that they've developed in like almost ever, because at a 96% uh, effectiveness rate, that's like that's like unheard of for vaccines. Usually, you're looking at like the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which is around 80% or something like that.
yeah.
But I feel like in this country you can't, and well, apparently everywhere. I feel like you can't have your cake and eat it too, though, in this situation, because like now they have to be out of a job. Like I understand what the judge means by there was a judge that I wrote it down. It said U.S. District Judge Hughes, this is not coercion. Methodist is trying to do their best of saving lives, blah blah blah. The choice made to keep staff and blah 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 safe. But it is coercion because at the end of the day, you're saying if you don't do this, you can't work here. So if you can't work here, you can't survive. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Who's getting jobs? Who? Unemployment is still, I mean, it's getting better, but they've taken unemployment. And so it just feels like for those who are skeptical of whatever this, of the vaccine, because I had to be, I'm still skeptical, but I still had to take it. I have to go to school. But for those who are like, no,
But you
I'm
don't want to
very
feel forced
skeptical,
into
or
taking it, is what you're saying. You wanted to take it
right,
by choice.
exactly.
Because I mean, there are some concerns
Not in
with it. I get it.
healthcare.
Um,
Yeah.
but okay, so
Who
I
knows
just want.
if it agrees with my body? Like I could die, like you guys said, 400 and however many people. That's a choice, and that's a risk at the same time because I want to work at Methodist Hospital, whatever. If you're gonna fire me because I don't want to take it, at least give me some type. Let me work somewhere else. Like help me something, some other way. I'm sure they probably might have, maybe.
So let me jump in. Let me jump in. I like that point of view, and I'm glad you brought it up. So Mike Winter said online, you don't have to work there, and I just want to point out the response that the Supreme Court said. They said, and I quote, "People can freely choose to accept or refuse a COVID-19 vaccine. However, if they refuse, they will simply need to work somewhere else. Every employment includes limits on the worker's behavior in exchange for remuneration. This is all part of the bargain. Remuneration meaning pay. So this is all part of the bargain. So that was what the Supreme Court said. But I hear what you're saying, Gianni. I mean, I hear what you're
But
saying, and
that's a
because
random term and condition that they brought to these workers. That's not like
it
once I
wasn't in
signed
the
my job, I knew 2 years from now the pandemic. Like you didn't know, so that's
yeah.
not fair. I just feel like it's not.
That's true. I mean, you
As a
make a
worker,
good point. I mean, it wasn't an
Yeah.
employee handbook that you had to get vaccinated when you were employed. Like, if I started my job where I am currently 2 years ago.
Bullshit. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit.
Go ahead.
Because if you're going into the medical field, you're going for your TB test, you're getting your full inoculations, you're
Especially
getting
the medical field.
everything
I
as
agree with you on
terms of
medical field.
condition. I went to
Yeah.
teachers college and I had to make sure that all my shots were in order. I just because I was working with kids. So bullshit, bullshit, bullshit in the
But you're
hospital.
talking
That's
specifically
always
medical
been
field. What
terms.
about
That's
what about no? Because that hasn't always been the case. If I'm
but
going to
even in
work
the
at
medical field,
McDonald's.
I didn't sign up for that. Even in the medical field, like you said,
yeah.
Rob, TB, I can name them off. There's like a list, like TB, blah 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 blah. Those is what I
So now
signed up
add
for. I
COVID
didn't
to
sign
it.
up for no. Yeah. Now they're adding
So now
COVID. So now new
COVID's
workers.
being added to the list. And as far as I'm concerned, if you have an existing term and contract, an agreement with the employer, this is a global pandemic. I don't see why the employer cannot protect its interests by requiring its employees to have their vaccinations. Because if they're not vaccinated, they're at a higher risk to get sick and they're at a higher risk to contaminate the rest of your workforce. That's a substantial liability to an employer. It's wrong. If you are working in the healthcare field and you're receiving any kind of public dollars, then public policy applies to you. That's now a term and condition of
Then
your
they should at
employment.
least pay the employees to leave, at least. I feel like they should,
No,
because
because
that's
you're
kind of
making
just
a
saying
choice,
it's
Johnny.
arbitrary. It's an arbitrary
It's
thing.
not
It's like saying
arbitrary.
we're right and you're wrong because you're wrong. And
I,
so
I'm
like,
I'm going to say I think Gianni makes a decent point here. I agree with this. It's a I think we're gonna need some more time because I want Gianni got me. So I agree that I agree with healthcare workers. No bueno. They need to be that should be a term and condition. New vaccines, everything they need to be vaccinated. But if I'm a McDonald's worker, or if I've been working in my job for uh, 20 years or whatever, and I don't want to get a vaccine because I'm scared of the vaccine, whatever the reason is. Um, and suddenly you're telling me, no, you got to get a vaccine before you come in. I think there should be some reasonable understanding of that. And I think remuneration for being forced to leave because of it is reasonable. Is
is
reasonable. Especially if we're talking about years of employment. If you've been around a long time, and because I don't want to get, for whatever reason, a vaccine, I think there should be some
that's
severance pay or
coercion.
something like that. But I
Coercion.
but
I
I
don't know.
ultimately believe that they should be required to get a vaccine, and every employer has the right to make that. I do believe
Yeah.
that. But I agree with what I do agree with you on is maybe some type of pay in exchange for leaving, or because who knew that COVID was coming and all this other stuff? And I wanted to
Mhm.
maybe retire with this job, and all of a sudden you're telling me unless I get this vaccine, you're out of here. And that's sort of not fair. I mean, we understand why it exists,
Yeah.
but it's still kind of unfair, right? Go
But
ahead,
then,
Jen.
I
if
really
you're not
appreciated that.
vaccinated and you bring that stuff into your establishment, can we make you liable then? You didn't get
Mhm.
vaccinated, you brought the junk in. Hey, you killed X, Y, and Z. So that's my
But that's kind of
question
like
here.
almost making it saying for a fact that because you're not vaccinated that you're going to be infectious to other people, because people who
You have
are
a higher
vaccinated are
probability.
still getting it, are still, but it's probability, not 100%. Okay, but we can argue. That's true. We can argue for days.
Mhm.
That was good. No, I was going to let you argue
Mhm.
for days. Go ahead.
But one thing that I really appreciated about the judge's comments and notes uh, is that what did he say? He said the justice that presided over the appeal noted that likening the vaccination requirements to the Nazis' forced medical experimentation on concentration camp captives during the Holocaust to be reprehensible, because that seems to be a go-to for people who feel that they are
That's
being
weird.
coerced
Forced to
and
do
pushed into
something.
it. It's like they keep likening it to the Holocaust and having to wear a
Yeah, that's
star and
weird.
having to do this. And it's just like, no, it's an ethically bankrupt position to take, and it's reprehensible. So if that's your position, fucking stop. No,
So that
Yeah,
takes
no.
me
yeah.
to whose comment was this? Which comment was it? Sorry, I think it was Michael Winner. Um, Mike Winner says you aren't forced to take your shoes off when you get on a plane. Other option, don't fly. The entitlement is a mess. It does feel like a lot of entitlement. I'm not gonna lie. Like, no,
Mhm.
we have rights and we're supposed to do this. And no, when you go to work for someone, the employer can say, "Hey, I like you." I think of my wife's studio, right, fitness studio, and if she had some people that said, "I don't want to get the vaccine," but we have all these people coming to this studio, potentially putting the people coming to the studio in danger, I would be upset if she were forced to keep that employee and put
Mhm.
all of those other people coming into the studio, all the customers coming in, and put them in danger of, you know,
Yeah.
and so, I'm okay with her having the ability to say, I'm sorry, you're fired. I need you to get the vaccine. Show me you have the vaccine. I'm okay with it. I think in some cases, especially full-time employment, you might need to look at some type of severance pay as reasonable. Um, because they've been around a long time. But it does feel like entitlement, I have to say. Daria Winter says,
Then
go ahead.
maybe, I mean, like you said, maybe, okay, if that person doesn't want to get vaccinated, that's fine. Then they have a remote work location where they are. However, is that a cop out? Because I love working from home. So if that means that I have to go into the office to get
I'm not
vaccinated,
going to get a
screw
vaccine.
that noise. I'm not getting the vaccine. I'm staying at home,
Yeah.
right? So it's
The article says that these are
different
frontline.
times. And
Yeah.
if you're a
Yeah.
frontline worker, if
Front-
you are
I see no
taking
reason.
care of people, yes,
Mm.
like you said, Neo, that kid that's working at McDonald's, it's different. But like I saw Mike Winter's comment as well, we all had to get vaccines when we were kids to go to school.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep, we did.
And they've been trying to
So,
get rid of that, but and that's then the whole point of the vaccines is not is to keep other people safe from you as well. So
yes.
it's not a one-sided thing. It's not just about you and the individuals. It's about the community and the society. But yeah, as far as like frontline workers, I'm like, no, there should be no ifs, ands, or buts or anything like that. And I'm certain many of them have had it in their contract that as a requirement. I'm
Can I
certain of
just
that.
ask?
Go ahead.
You're being treated by a doctor and they're saying you should get your vaccine, but the doctor says, I don't believe in it. Do you trust that doctor? Do you trust that healthcare worker?
I don't.
Mm.
All right,
To
Daria,
me, I would be apprehensive. Oh, hey, I'm going to give you your vaccine. Did you get it? No, I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think some
Double
people are actually
standard.
looking for that doctor, to be honest. Some of these crazy anti-vaxxers. All right, Daria Wynn says, I'm so in agreement with you. I do not see why there should be any controversy over this position. When we had no vaccine, that was one thing. But with the availability of the vaccine, what is the problem? Vanessa G says, when people are given safer options at the workplace that leave some of the employees exposed to the less safe work, there isn't always an equal division of labor. When some workers take the safe option, I know people who have chosen to go into their places of work because there are tasks that need to be done, while others choose to stay home to work. Teachers in my district are not given safe options. Interesting. Olivia says another thing legal issue is the vaccine is only for emergency use. It still has other phases to go through. That's true. It is technically still in the phase of emergency use only.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good point, Olivia.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's why people are skeptical.
Yeah,
Even if the people are not like die hard, like, oh, they're the new Nazi, like Rob said. Even if it's not that, it's just no natural. Like, I mean, I don't trust it because even given the facts, even if you do your due diligence and research, and it doesn't add up to you using your own mind and your own research, then it doesn't add up. And I don't feel like you should be forced to take a vaccine, but you have to be because everybody in the world believes in it. So it's hard for those to understand it.
yeah.
I get it.
We were told, Gianni, that by Mike Winter, Gianni and Neo, they are not being fired. They make a choice to have a public-facing job, and they are not entitled to keep that job. Vanessa G says people with HIV who don't warn their partners and have unprotected sex can be charged with endangerment or worse. Actually, that brings me to a story I have. So I don't know if you remember me talking a while back. I actually forgot this until she mentioned that. I told you about when we were doing an anti-vaccine. There was this person I played volleyball with on a regular basis, and she started emailing me and messaging me about, don't wear your masks. The vaccines are horrible. Don't ever take a vaccine. And I'm like, are you crazy? Stop talking to me. Leave me alone, right? And so I went back to playing volleyball, and she was there, right? And so I was like, so she, we're fist bumping, right? And we're doing all the fist bumps, and she tried to give me a fist bump. I said, "Did you get your vaccine?" She's like, "No," and I'm like, "Well, don't be fist bumping me." I wish you weren't here. You know, it's like, come on. I mean, and she got all upset. I'm like, I don't care. Look, I don't know. I feel bad that I did that, but you know, it's really.
But Neo,
She
you
also.
choose your associations, right?
That's true.
Like I'm not going to hang out in somebody's home that smokes because it drives me nuts. So I'm going to choose my environment and not be around those people. I'm going to host them at my place and go smoke outside. You're more than welcome to.
Yep.
But you're making a choice who you want to associate with.
Yep.
And if these people are going to become ostracized as a result of those choices, every choice has a consequence. And if you want to make a choice out of ignorance because you don't have the tools necessary to evaluate the vaccine and its effectiveness or what it might do to you negatively, most people who are against it do not have anywhere near the tools to do the evaluation or the research that they say they're doing. They're going on a gut feeling, they're going on ignorance, and they're being swayed by stupid people.
And the dumbest thing was, she said to me, she's like, you're more of a danger to me than I am to you, which tells me she has some sense that she's right. The reality is she's right. I actually technically would be more of a danger to her because she's unvaccinated. But I said to her, but you're still a danger. Don't you get that? Well, what part of that don't you get? You know, it's like you're still a danger to me.
So she's choosing to put her life in danger.
Right. That's what she's choosing to do. But
I don't get what.
But my point is that she's also still choosing to also still put my, because there's a 4% chance that this vaccine doesn't work.
Yeah.
There's a 4% chance that this vaccine, or I think it's like 95% now, or whatever it is, there's a 4 or 5% chance that the vaccine will not work for me. And that 5% chance is enough for me to stay away from you. So, what were you saying, Gianni? I'm sorry to cut you off.
I kind of forgot. Sorry. I forgot. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. All right, this is great. So, all right, this time is definitely up on this one. I'm sorry. that was a great conversation. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for that. All right. Let's move on to our next. Oh, gotta ask, was that truth, lies, or was it shenanigans?
Shenanigans.
Lies.
Or truth on one side, shenanigans on the other.
Yeah. I might be with you.
There's a bit of all. Yeah.
Truth and shenanigans.
Truth and shenanigans.
All right, Gianni, you